Hi, Kirsten.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh my God, I'm so excited too. I should be the one jumping for joy because you reached out. Like I am very, very grateful and appreciative of every person that actually messaged and saying that they resonate with my podcast. Trust me, I am very, very thankful to the higher source, the divine, the God that these people. I just want to
Baby,
say that I'm very grateful for you to be here. So
me too.
for the listeners, hello everyone. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. First off, Kirsten, thank you very much for saying yes to be interviewed today. And like I said, like I mentioned just a couple of seconds ago, I cannot wait to have you speak about your backstory and your experiences. But right now, let me read a bit of your introduction for our listeners, and then we can get right into business.
Sounds good.
So, hello everyone. We have Kirsten Rudberg here with us. Having grown up overseas in both Guyana, South America, and as well as Lahore, Pakistan, it was only later that she understood that her childhood has dramatically shaped her in ways that she did not expect. They even have a wiki entry for kids like her, third culture kids, and she fitted to a T. Her childhood was informed by the Islamic call to prayer, and her education at the American school had her playing with kids from all over the world of every color, creed, and religion. When one grows up like this, is it any wonder that the world becomes enchanted, that other humans become enchanted? She is endlessly thrilled with meeting other people and getting to know who they are and what makes them tick. She's a panentheist, I hope I pronounced it correctly, who believes that spirit or energy or God, goddess exists in all she can see and not see, and that magic and miracles are real and potent. Yes. This is the gist of her podcast, Byte Sized Blessings, FYI, fellow podcaster, where she interviews people of all kinds, asking them about powerful moments in their lives, ones that changed them forever. Wow, Kirsten, wow. Welcome.
Thank you.
Wow,
I love
that's a lot.
it is a lot. I love hearing it come from you because I can listen to it and think I did a pretty good job with that. So thank you.
Like, come on, and you're doing such great work. When I read your profile, the third paragraph, I'm like, okay, this is my tribe. I have to get her on. Like, I need to speak to her. Kirsten, can you share with us what was it like growing up as Kirsten Rudberg?
Yeah, I mean, it was different. But when I was overseas, I didn't know it was different because that's what I was used to. So, for example, when I was in school in Lahore, playing with kids from everywhere, I thought that was the norm. And I loved it. Of course, there were cliques every once in a while, but really, we were all just there to have fun, play, learn, have a good time, learn soccer, enjoy each other's company. And so it was really, really distressing to move back to the States after that, to the middle of Illinois, where
Uh-huh.
suddenly, everyone's white and it's what you wear to school, what you bring in your lunchbox. That depends on whether you have friends or not, or you're accepted or not. Suddenly you couldn't be friends with everyone. And so that was such a distressing and disturbing part of my life that I had to repeat fourth grade again. I mean, I had to do fourth grade twice because I could not adjust. I could not adjust. It was so
Wow.
painful and so, I don't know, in my child mind, so sad. And it was like the ground had been taken out from
Mm.
underneath me. And suddenly I didn't know what I could rely on anymore. The rules had changed. And I had to learn to navigate a whole new culture. I'm white, but I grew up in these other,
Yes.
and so it was like I came back to a world that was white and I had no idea how to navigate it. So things were stressful as a child and really challenging and difficult. But that being said, I would not trade my childhood overseas for anything in the entire world because I learned what it's like to invite everyone in. I always use the analogy of the sandbox. What does it look like to be an adult now for me? And invite everybody to the sandbox and encourage a sense of belonging and community and companionship and friendship and conviviality. And so my childhood basically set me up for understanding how important that is to invite people in versus keeping them out, but how important it is to have an open heart.
Yes. Wow. I love it. Because I come from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, so it's also very diverse here where I come from. Having heard somebody from the States, somebody that is white, to actually say that I am very welcoming of all creed, religion, and color. It is big because now you get to see, it's like me saying to myself, now you get to see the beauty of it, that we can live harmoniously under one roof. I mean, not literally one roof in the house, but in a community, and not fight against each other. And to be honest, my wish is to have more people like you spread across the world. I had one guest who lived in Iraq for a while, and yes, and he is now a coach that teaches cross-cultural programs. I'm like, you two should meet, like, and let me be a mediator. Like, I would love it. I am
That's
so
amazing.
yes, and whew, whew. Okay, my heart is like overflowing with emotion and joy right now. So, Kirsten, can you share with us? I mean, your questions are like poof. So, you said here one of it is like, who am I as a human being? Have you found the answer? Did you find it?
No, of course not, because I firmly believe that it takes an entire lifetime because we're always changing all the time. And who I was when I was 5 is totally different from when I was 20 to when I was 30. I keep changing. And sometimes in really unexpected and weird ways. And I'm like, what? How did that happen? How did I end up here? And so I think that's one of the most exciting things about being alive is that you never know who you're going to become or how you're going to be tested or what you're going to learn. But that being said, because you asked this question, I'm absolutely a bibliophile. I love reading. I have loved reading since I was a kid. I'm totally into science and I've read science magazines since I was a kid. But I also went to seminary and have a master's of divinity. So,
Wow.
yeah, I'm totally lazy.
No,
One
don't
day,
say that. No, don't say that. You are the people that I need to come to, because I learned divinity through, YouTube, because we have abundance of information of that online, but you actually want to get certification for it. You are, between the two of us, you're the expert. So please share with us.
yeah. Well, I'm a panentheist. And so what that
Mhm.
means is I believe that God is in everything, including that amazing lipstick color you're wearing. Amazing.
In this water, in this bottle, God is also in here. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that means everything's sacred, including this conversation, the tree, the window, the family that I met earlier today. So for me, everything's sacred. Everything has meaning and importance and validity and is legitimate. And for me, I love the idea that I'm living in a world that is alive and I just need to learn to connect with it or start a conversation with it. And so that's how I orient myself to the world with my spirituality. So I don't have a specific religion. I'm more of a generalized kind of believer.
Yeah. When I had to search panentheist and omnis. So no, I am being very honest, because I've never heard, and this is why I love coming on to podcasts, because I mean, as in talking to people, because I get to learn. I used to read when I was a kid, but right now it's like, you know what, I want to interact with people. Let me speak to them, so I'll learn faster. Of course, I know I'll learn as well when I read, but it's like I want to hear. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to feel their emotion when they're saying it, because that speaks volume, and you can tell, because everything is energy. And wow. I Okay, now you did say, we did mention about this earlier, but how did living overseas really change your life?
That's such a great question. Well, it helped me to fall in love with the world. When you're a kid, you're open to so much beauty, so much difference, so much opportunity. And so really, truly, I was lucky. My parents took me, to Bangkok, to Bangladesh. to Kashmir, to Sri Lanka, to the Maldives. I mean, I traveled everywhere. So I got to see and meet people that I wouldn't otherwise. I got to see ways of worship that I wouldn't have otherwise. I got
That is
to
so
see
powerful.
art and
Mhm.
architecture that I wouldn't have otherwise. Even though it was rough when I came back to the States, that kind of upbringing completely shifts how you place yourself in the world
Yeah.
and the possibility that you see in other human beings. And so it really has caused me to live in hope and joy and belief in other people. And that just because someone looks different from me doesn't mean, that they're a terrible person or they're a good person. Everyone deserves a chance. And without that kind of education, quote unquote, when I was a kid, I wouldn't even be at this place in my life, you know, where I want to invite people in. And so really growing up overseas changed everything.
You touched on so many subject there that I would love to echo on. So, like I mentioned, like I am from Malaysia, and it's a very diverse country as well. And truthfully, I think most of the Asian parts of the world, Southeast Asia or East Asia. So it is really it humbles you. And if I were to come from, I think, from a place where like you said, like one race is the majority, I would also feel very ooh, how it is from this, and then to where there is very multicultural, it's very diverse, and then compared to you coming from this, the multiculturally diverse community, to one race seems so racist. I don't want to say that. I'm trying to find the right word, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's like there is always a reason behind things that happen. Like, you are exactly where you're meant to be. Like, I always think of it this way. Like, I was born here in Malaysia, but that doesn't negate the fact that I cannot reach out to people across the world and have empathy and try to understand where they're coming from. And of course, had I stayed in the because everybody has their filter. Every community, every country, every government will have a certain filter towards, certain how do I say, other governments. But then I do not want to be defined by that. At least this is my value, or the thing that I like. So what I did was, I'm actually a Filipino, but was born and raised in Malaysia. And then parents are third generation in Malaysia. So that's, yeah. And then, so I have a choice. Do I want to be defined by my Filipino roots? Do I want to be defined by my Malaysian roots? Or do I want to find my place, break it all down? Who am I as a soul? I mean, at first, it was just body as in 3D, like who am I as Nicolette? And then after I went through my own thing in life, my own spiritual trauma and awakening, I even tried to, no, not even tried, I had to break down my walls as Nicolette. And because we're all souls with human experience, I mean, we're just here to experience the body, and then try to find what is this common denominator of all things in life. And I found out that we're all souls with this in this bodysuit, and everything is alive, like you said. Everything has a meaning and everything has purpose. And let's say today we're supposed to be speaking at 8, like half an hour, but then 8:30 I had to say I'm sorry. So that's for the listeners. There's also a reason behind it. And I just and simply at the baseline, I think we just need to move. I At least, you move with the right intention and love. And even though you're lost, they said you're lost. Some people would say, having a midlife crisis, I'm lost. I don't have my purpose. And what is my purpose? I think if you move with love and with the right intention and seeing like you said, the good in people, I don't think you will ever go astray. Yeah.
I love all that. I totally agree with all of that. And I think the other thing to understand, especially in the world that we inhabit now, is that, hey, guess what? It's not all about me, right? And one of the things that I try to remember all the time is,
Yeah.
my soul, my spirit is here to do a job. I'm here to accomplish things and make this world a better place. And if more people understood that and lived into it, this world would become more beautiful for more people. So
Yes.
I always try to remind myself, not about me. I'm really just a person here who's clocked in. I got a job to do to lift other people up, and
Oh,
that's it.
head chills. That is so true. Yes. 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 And it's like, imagine if you're clocking in and out for 40 years of your life for a company, for a job, for an organization or a business, but then your very being, you neglect all of that because you're out there chasing certain things. You lost the whole meaning of it. And then, well, it's up to you whether if in this lifetime you get to realize that earlier, and then okay, I need to realize what is it that I'm doing, what is it, what am I using my vessel for? When I say vessel, this, and, or if some people may not realize it, and they may have to, maybe there's another lifetime that they're gonna have to learn the lesson. So I'm not to say that right now, I am already enlightened like Jesus or Buddha, but at least the awareness is there. And yeah, you can see better, you understand better. And when people move certain ways, you can actually see that from a place of understanding or love. Like, he or she may not be having the best days or having some problems, or, yeah, could be anything. And truly, that having that, and I think when you can operate that way, to a certain degree, you have achieved bliss. And bliss is the most powerful thing in the world for me right now. Inner peace is like,
Yes.
sign me up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, bliss is such an underutilized word. It really is. And,
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are trying to chase happiness or joy or contentment or, I don't know, cars, money, the perfect job, what have you. But if you say bliss, that's it. That encompasses all of that. And I think it's such a beautiful word to use. Thank you. Thank you so much. It reminded me. I also wanted to tell you that I'm super lazy in general, and for me, I don't want you to think I'm the coolest person ever because I'm so lazy. But for me, it's harder to hate people and not invite them in. It's harder to do that. It's
Yes.
like more
It's no,
energy.
yeah, because you gotta muster, you gotta have that energy to think twice about why he or she is not good for the team or for the group, and then you have to justify that in your mind. And like, instead of just coming from that place of love, you know what, come in. And if I see that you don't fit in with the you don't click with the team, then it's okay, we just don't vibe. You just don't have to come with us, or yeah, come into my house or my community, right? It's simple. If you think of it, I had a, not to say an argument, but a debate with a friend before. It was like, trust, said to me, I don't trust people. And I'm like, funny. I'm the exact opposite. I see people as innocent until they're proven guilty. For him, everybody's guilty until proven innocent. So it's like, you see, I put the analogy for him. He said that I don't trust. So I said, I think everybody is innocent until, they're not. And then I added that. So for you, what you're saying is that everybody is not innocent. Everybody has something to hide or has some hidden agenda until they've proven themselves now. And if you choose to operate in the former, life has become so like beautiful. Life is beautiful, truly. You might get hurt, but then your intention was correct, right? Because you went into the situation with an open arms and open heart. And then if it's not, then okay, you move on. You learn the lesson. You move.
I mean, what's actually really fascinating about that story about your friend is that he's operating from a scarcity mindset, with his
Preach
relationship
the
to
choir, Kirsten.
that's actually really interesting. And I wonder what has happened in his life to have
Mm.
him position himself in that way, because it really does say something about his relationship to the universe, basically.
Exactly. To the universe, not even to me or to community. There must be
Yeah.
a belief that he has that is limiting him to see the goodness, the richness of everything that's around him. You could live in I know things are tight, right? Like financially, yeah, but then you could live in a big house, a big mansion, or just a nice, it's comfortable. But then if you don't have that bliss, somebody who lives in Beverly Hills will still be miserable. So
And
truly,
it's true. It's true.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah, truly, it is how you feel. Actually, because everything starts from you, Kristen. Everything starts and it radiates. Enough said.
Absolutely. I guess this whole conversation's going deep and I love it.
And our listeners, some will be like, I think the host is not really the host is steering it away, but then she gets into her I don't know, her stories, and then yeah, let's get back to the point. But then this is the core of my podcast. I talk a lot about this and I love it. Yeah. Right. So Kristen, how do you channel or work with your creativity?
Gosh, well, I have a podcast, as you said, Byte Sized Blessings.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of emerged out of COVID. And when I graduated from seminary, a lot of people were lonely and isolated because of COVID and the pandemic. And I just thought, hey, what stories would make me feel better? What do I want to hear? And so that's how the podcast was born. I always have people come to me and say, hey, this really weird thing happened to me. Can I talk to you about it? So I thought, I'm going to start asking everybody, have you ever witnessed or experienced something magical or miraculous in your life? And how did it change your life? And so I think I'm doing episode 179 this week.
My
So
God, congratulations. Wow.
and then I have a series of books. I'm rewriting the Peter Rabbit books that Beatrix Potter did, but they more forcefully engage. They're not for kids. They more forcefully engage with societal and cultural issues, environmental degradation, human trafficking, sweatshops. I'm just turning the entire series on its head to kind of grapple with what we're dealing with these days. A lot of injustice, a lot of social justice issues. And so you could say that my creative process always tends to kind of work with lifting other people up. For example, the podcast does that. But then I'm Peter Rabbit, which is kind of forcing the reader to engage with these things that are really, really kind of bringing the world down. We're destroying our environment. Other human beings have no, they're so disposable. Then I have an animated series on YouTube that's called Murder of Two. That's about two crows that sit on a line and they comment on humanity. And the first episode that I wrote, they're like 2 minutes long, maybe 2.5 minutes long. The first episode was in direct response to the murder of George Floyd in the US. And so I'm always kind of engaging my creativity to force us as human beings to look at how we're operating in the world, what gives us meaning, how we're creating meaning, how we and other groups are doing things to other people or helping other people. So so my creativity is somehow in some weird way always gets moved back to just, I don't know, social justice stuff, if you want to say that, for lack of a better term.
That's
So,
confirmation.
yeah.
You're a light worker,
Yay.
Kirsten. You're a light worker. I mean, I try to understand as well, like, what is God's duty to me? My story, again, my listeners will be like, okay, story time again. 2019 had got through my divorce. So that was like, okay, everything came crumbling down. Didn't know what it was, didn't know how to process. And then I started working because I got a quote unquote great job, great company. Okay, carried on. And I said, okay, love department is not working for me. Let me look at the money, the pentacles. Let me look at that money. So I went in and then COVID hit as well. COVID is the universe's way of saying everything that you've known and understood before, I'm going to collapse it for you and you have to rebuild. At least for me, this is what I see it. And then I too had the same thing. I had to face my music, and had to understand, had to face the grief, and did my own introspection within. And then after that, found that okay, what it is about to sustain myself, because at the time, do I really want to stay at the job, or do I want to go outside and look for another job? But then if I continue to feel miserable, it's going to be a vicious cycle. So I went in and I said, what is it that I want to do? What is it I'm good at doing? Number one, naturally good. And number two, I've honed my skills over the years. So, okay, speaking. And I think I'm a pretty nice human being. I can relate to people. So why don't you start? So, and then I came across this course by Marissa Peer. And it works with your subconscious mind. And it's to help people, right? And to say, okay, I want to help people who is also maybe experiencing something like me. But at the same time, I want to be sure that I'm good enough. Keyword good enough. Again, that at the time it was like scarcity mindset. Good enough to accept money from people in exchange for their service, in exchange for my service. So I said, okay, let me go on podcast. Let me talk. And lo and behold, I love talking. And I don't have no plans in stopping anytime soon. Of course, during that first few months, it's like, like, okay, how am I going to sustain myself like right now? Like, but then I love it, but I believe in that, because when you're aligned with something, the universe will pave that way for you. You don't have to worry, and you start it right with the right intention. Let me see it right now. It's 8 months in, 9 months in. Oh, I started getting something. And I'm like, you know what? And most importantly, Chris, it's not about that. It's about, number one, I'm better at relating with people. I get to hone my intuition. I get to hone my I don't know, communication skills. Most importantly, I'm being me, and I don't have to pretend. And now, right now I'm finishing up last leg of my course, and I'm like, you know what, this is my life's work. I am meant to do this. I too change my creativity in the sense that I want to relate to people, and then use that and also at the same time use that to support myself, and at the same time just trying to impact one person. I would love to impact the world, but you start with yourself and the person next to you, and whoever that you're speaking to, you're doing the work already. Relax, you'll get there. Sometimes I have that, of course, the anxiousness, because I used to be an overachiever before, like, oh, I gotta get this, get this, get this. So I had to do a lot of work on how to adjust that and just be instead of do, because we're human beings. We're not human doings. We're not human doing. So yes, that is my side.
I love that. Thank you for telling me that. And I think I loved with what you started with was, what is God's idea of my place in the world? Is that what you said? And so, that's such a huge question. And I feel like most of us have no idea, or if we're lucky, it continually changes and evolves. But one of the things, and this is so cheesy that I'm saying this, but I have really make a concerted effort every day to be in constant communication with, I call them the gods, my ancestors, my spirits. I'm
No, it's
always in
not, because I
conversation.
do that too.
Yeah,
I look for it, like, please
yeah,
speak to me, however way. The siren or the plate numbers,
yeah.
numerology, I'm into that too. It's like, please, like, whatever. Because everything is trying to connect, if only you listen. If
And I
only
think it's also important to just understand that those ancestors, those guides, those ancient gods, they're waiting for us
to
to
reach
start the
out.
conversation. Once you do that, it becomes easier and easier to have that conversation. And also, once you do that, you can kind of understand or learn a little more deeply or get easier access to what is your place in the world, because the
Yes.
signs will start
To
popping up,
show. Yeah.
the messages, your dreams, random
Yeah.
strangers coming up to you, telling you
Mm-hmm.
something. It will all start coming. And this is coming from someone who was an atheist for a long time. who read science magazines, didn't believe in any of this crap, because I called it crap. And then I just had so many experiences that happened that I thought to myself, okay, I'm really not being given a choice here. I mean, something is going on, and scientifically, maybe someday we'll be able to dissect it, parse it out, and say, well, that atom hit that atom, or what have you. But right now, it's very mysterious. And I'm willing to live in that mystery. And I think that's what makes life really beautiful.
And magical. Because you don't have to know everything. Stop trying to control the narrative. Let go. Life, do not worry. You're kind of the universe, the divine, or however you call it. It has provided you this far. So why aren't you trusting that you're not gonna be provided for again in the future and times to come? Relax, relax, relax. And it is in stillness that you actually that you find the answer. But some people come and tell me and say, Nicola, I find it difficult to quote unquote meditate, because their idea of meditation is being still. It's okay, you can meditate. There's a lot of forms of meditation. So it's not just you sitting by yourself, and find what works for you, and go about your life with that. I wanted to say something. There was something that you said that really struck. That really hit me. But I forgot that may come up in the bits. So, Kristen, where do ideas come from?
That is another great question. Who came up with it? It was me. Okay.
Are you sure?
I do think for me, okay, because ideas come in lots of different ways for different people. But for me,
Yes.
I see them. I mean, I feel like some of the people I know are so annoyed by me because I'll have an interaction with a person and I'll say, oh, yeah, that would make the best graphic novel or comic, or, and so
like you become philosophical about it, right? Me too. You exaggerate, but we're not exaggerating.
Totally.
It is like really from, it's a download, it's a message.
Yeah. And so it's like those ideas are happening all around you all the time, depending on, what you're working in. If it's a podcast, or you're a writer, or you're an artist, you're a sculptor, you're a painter, those ideas, those concepts. I'm also like a huge believer in, if you're an artist, go back and study the history of art. If you're a writer, go back and read as many different kinds of books as you can, because that's research. And if you want to be a creative, or even if you want to be a podcast host, listen to as many podcasts as possible, do research, because those ideas, those concepts, the history of those arts, they will lodge themselves in your subconscious. And so you never know when they're going to start floating up and give you ideas for the work that you're currently doing, because we're always taking in so much information all the time. And so it's almost like creating this sort of buried treasure inside yourself. You don't know what's getting in, but eventually something's going to surface and it'll add to your project or the great work that you're doing in your life.
And this is why it is important to stay open, even though the people around you, you're not agreeable to the idea, but there must be a reason why he or she's saying that, from her perspective at least. And then that makes relating with people easier. You get to comprehend better, and you're not judgmental about it.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But also I think, having an open heart and being open to it takes great faith in the universe, and also generosity of spirit. So it's like, if you open yourself up to that wisdom, or that history, or that learning, or that teaching, and you follow down that path, you walk down that path toward creating something or bringing an idea into the world, you're telling the universe, you're engaging in conversation, saying, I'm ready. And it's almost like doing a little bit of due diligence before the ideas come, or a little bit of showing the universe you have commitment, that you're into it, you're into the idea, you're into being a light worker, you're into being a worker for those ancestors, or for the betterment of this reality. And so it's not like things are going to come to you. This is just what I believe, okay? So take it with a grain of salt. It's not like things are just going to come to you because you're like, I want to do a sculpture tomorrow. No, you have to demonstrate when you want to co-create with the universe, you have to demonstrate your dedication and your commitment. And you have to say, I'm in, I'm ready. And so,
Yes.
yeah, otherwise you don't really get anywhere fast.
Kirsten, something just pop up in my head. It's like people ask for $1 million. Now the universe is going to test you. Are you really ready for it?
Yeah. Well, and I think, right? I mean, so many people operate on this weird, I mean, in the States, we have the prosperity gospel, right? Where all these preachers are saying, hey, make money, make money. Here's how you can make money. Send us money, and then we'll pray for you to get money. It's all such a scam.
Is there such a thing?
Yes, it is. It's all
Wow.
prosperity
Okay.
gospel. So. But so much of our society, and rightfully so, right? Because you can have a more comfortable life with money, you can buy things, but our whole world is so consumer and just based about owning things and having the best watch on your wrist or having the coolest shoes or makeup. A lot of us are so oriented towards having and people who don't have, which then creates the idea or the group of that person, we can't hang out with them because they're not wearing the right clothes, or that person goes to that church, which is like this poor little one-room church. We can't really affiliate with them. I mean, so much of our culture and society is focused on acquiring things, and a lot of it, frankly, is crap. I have to be honest. Like, and at the end of the day, do these people have their bliss? No, they don't. A lot of them are miserable, and they're like always wanting the next thing, and the quest is never done. The demand inside their heart and their soul is never satiated or satisfied. There is never an end goal or end state, and that's fine. You can live in this life and never have an end goal because you're always evolving. But if there's a hunger inside of you to always have the next thing or the biggest piece of bling or to buy something so that you can finally feel good about yourself, or whatever that hungry ghost inside of you is, because we all have these hungry ghosts that are feasting on us. I have them too. We have these hungry ghosts. That hungry ghost is never going to go away unless you dial things back, maybe get therapy. In my case, I do therapy. I exercise, I take care of myself. I step back from life and I say to myself, what is really important for me? How can I live a life? But I'm also a strange person. Okay. I know a lot of people don't think about how to make this world better or how to lift other people up. My rising is Libra, and Libra is very social justice oriented.
Yes.
Yes, from
Rising
respect,
Virgo.
I don't have a choice. I literally don't have a choice. I mean, I'm obsessed with social justice and making this world better for other people. But, all that being said, I do wish more people were more concerned about the injustices in this world. But I would love that if more of us weren't so focused on buying things and acquiring things, because I think those things weigh us down. They make us heavier. And I think we're meant to be lighter, like travel light.
Yes.
What I say.
Exactly. I mean, I would love to. I want to bring it back to, to me, I have found sort of the conclusion. Why do people do that? It's because they think they're not worthy. They think they're not enough. So why? Yeah, the need to acquire things. Then, hence, I have the validation from the people around me, the world, that okay, I'm good enough. But then, truly, because you yourself think that you're worthless, that you're worth nothing, you're not good enough. That's why you think that having accumulated so much, the material things, because everything is energy, right? There's no one to say that you cannot do this. No, but then if you put that as your main focus without knowing why you do it, and then it should just be a byproduct of your life. If you're aligned, money will come, and then you can buy whatever things that you want to buy or acquire that, right? But then if you put that as the goal so that you can be yourself, or you feel good enough to be you as a human, or as just follow to carry out your soul's work, it's not going to sustain. You're going to be burned out. And that's why people have burnouts, mental. I mean, I don't want to, how do I say this? Discredit that, some mental health are really because of what happened to them. But a good chunk would be from that, like not really understanding themselves. That is my take on it.
Well, and I think it's really important. You said money is energy. I mean, everything's energy, but money's
Energy.
energy, right? And, just like you're not going to go to a bakery every single day and eat 10 donuts because it's going to start getting stagnant in your body. All that energy is going to go
Yes.
on. And that's why hoarding money and keeping it's supposed to be moving.
It's supposed
It's
to be
supposed to have
flowing,
movement.
give and take.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it.
And so that's a really, people who hoard and, acquire. And I mean, no wonder they're heavy. They're weighing themselves down with all of these things that literally in the end mean nothing and have no significance. At the end of a life, they mean nothing. So all these
Exactly.
people are like, I'm going to die the richest person in the world or whatever that goal is. They're holding on to it so tightly, so convinced that in 100 years, people will remember them. And guess what? Nobody cares. Literally, nobody cares. But you know what? If you go out in that world and you donate money to a homeless shelter, or you buy meals for people that can't afford it, or you help a family find a home, those are the acts that are going to have people remembering you, that people are going to talk about, and they're going to just remember forever. Hoarding and keeping stuff, not so much.
Yes. And it's about how you make people feel about you. I think that, so let's say, touch wood, something happens and then I'm no longer here, and then it's like, how did I make a friend of mine came over because last night, because she was not feeling so well about her relationship, and just being a friend, just be there for her. And then I think to myself, like, if I'm not here tomorrow, at least I know that I was there with her. Like, that's the most important thing. Like, how did I make her feel? That, I think that's the legacy that I want to leave as well. Not, oh, Nicolette drove this car, Nicolette this, Nicolette that. No, it's just like, oh, what did they think of me fondly when I was around, right? Like, that is my, to be honest, I don't wanna fight. I realize that I go back and actually reconnected to some of my really good friends that are really good for me. I don't want to say high quality, because again, that's me judging, but still, like, really good for my soul, and like, connect with them. Not to say that you've achieved certain things in life, and then suddenly you're like, you're above everybody else, and like, nobody else matters, like whoever that's in. So yeah, so I do that. Of course, again, you understand the notion of you are who you associate yourself with, the 5%, but that's the thing. But then you don't have to, how do I say, you just need to keep them in your heart and connect with them genuinely, ask them how they're feeling. That's it. But you yourself as an individual continue to elevate by talking to people, learning anything, and be open. Let you be that vessel. Like, anything comes through you and out. So you take in and you give out. Take in love, you give out love.
Well, also, I think it's okay to say that you have high quality friends who are good for your
Yes.
soul, because
Yeah,
not
that's so true.
everybody's going to be good for our soul. And so
That's
we
true.
need to find those people that we
Yeah.
resonate with,
Mm-hmm.
that are in the same kind of energy, who deeply love us and respect us and only want the best for us, because those people are rare. They're like diamonds. And so, yeah, say my good quality friends. I give 2 thumbs up to that statement. Yeah.
Good quality friends. They know who they are. I hope. Some of them may be listening. Okay. Kristen, how are you brave?
Let's see, getting out of bed every day would qualify it as being brave. I think the biggest way I'm brave is that, and it's taken a long time to get to this place, is that I now have faith that my life is intentional, that it has always been there for me, waiting to wake up to it, and that I can understand that this universe is conscious and wants to co-create with me, and I can talk about it without feeling like I'm losing my mind or caring what other people think of me. I certainly 20, 25 years ago would have looked at me now and thought, who is that little crazy pants person over there? But again, I don't have a choice. And so I'm brave because I'm willing to talk about it and put myself out there to hopefully help other people feel like they can have the same kind of relationship with the universe or that really beautiful energy that's all around us.
I got no I comment for that. Yes, it's 1000%. Kirsten, what does it look like to listen to the universe, God, or spirit?
Annoying. I mean, I actually describe it as nagging because I am the worst, biggest whiner, complainer on the planet, especially if it inconveniences me. And so I always tell people that those gods or spirits are like, that one over there is a little salty and stubborn. So you just gonna have to laugh about it. We'll all laugh about it, right? And eventually she'll cave. She will cave, but there's gonna be a lot of whining. So just be ready. And so, yeah, lots of whining, getting better though. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I love it. You don't have to make it like this. There's superiority that you cannot talk to them like they're your buddy or your friends. Like I have taken the universe, the God spirit, are my angel, archangels. I'm like, hey, I don't wanna. Of course, respect is there, but then it's like I wanna be one with you. Let's talk like you are my greatest friend, like Archangel Michael. I'm having trouble right now. I don't really want to do it. Can you just show me the way, please? Or Raphael or whoever. It's like, and if you call, they will answer, Kirsten. You just need to listen, and really, they will answer. And says your ancestors, spirit guides, they all answer. They're just waiting for you, like, yes. And you're struggling in the 3D world. Like, how the heck am I gonna get this? I just, child, just come and ask for help. Quit doing everything yourself. And the moment you like, okay, I am done. I am tired. Can you please help me? Suddenly somebody calls, hey, Nick, I have plans. I don't have, I have time in between my next meeting. Do you want me to come and see you? Yes, that person comes and helps me with the thing. Yeah. It's like God is saying, like, I told you so. I told you so, right? Stop being so arrogant. Because I am the person growing up. I always thought that only my way is the best way. Or nobody can do it as perfectly as I intended that thing to be. Because I know myself. Oh, I was so humbled and I was so wrong. And I've learned to humble myself and say, I need your help. Just show me the way, just the guidance. Like, yeah, I don't wanna go against the current anymore. And it served me well. And I think life is so beautiful because I'm co-creating. There's always people around me. Even when I'm alone, I'm never alone, to be honest.
Absolutely. And I do think that, those spirits and ancestors are watching what's going on. And some of them are like, dear, with all the wars and the hate and the separation and the harms we're visiting on the environment and what have you. Then others are at the same time, I think they're applauding because some of us are working so very hard to make this world into a more beautiful place.
And then I thought about, sorry, I know we're all 55 minutes, and then we could go on for hours, but then it's like sometimes when I go down the rabbit hole of the world is full of mean, evil people, then I think of it and I said, wow, if God is so vindictive, he would have just wiped us all away again. But then I said, no, there's a group of people, the other side of the scale, that's trying to make it work, and that's why he's giving us chance to make this. So do not quit us and do not get overwhelmed by it. Don't try to change the world in one day. You cannot, but you start with yourself and you team up with people who has the same aspiration with you. And this is why God, universe loves us still, and it's gonna be around. So you just #faith. Okay, Kirsten, what is next for you?
Gosh, well, I do a lot of house sitting, so I'm moving around the country this summer. I'm going to live at the Oregon coast, which should be interesting. But yeah, continue writing my Peter Rabbit series, continue working on my podcast, and just continuing to work on that being able to hear that voice, being able to co-create even more deeply and be more intentional and be less of a stinker when they ask me to do something.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna ask. I know we talked a lot about this, but I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna take one step back. Do signs from the universe exist? Can you show them what are your signs that you've been receiving?
Gosh, yes. And you know what? They're different for everyone. They're so different for everyone. I've had anything from seeing like the same thing over and over again, knowing that it will show up later in my life, like it's a clue to me, to having random strangers come up to me and say, I'm supposed to tell you this. So it's going to help you in your life to, I'll tell you a quick story. This is the nagging thing that I was talking about before. So I was sitting on my couch one day and totally grumpy. And it was 10 in the morning and I felt this urge. It said, hey, go on a walk. And I feel it as this thing on my shoulders. And I was like, no, I'm on the couch. I'm pretty happy. It's 10. I don't work out now, so I'm not going on a walk. And then a few minutes later, it was like, no, go on a walk. Like this urge, compulsion to put on my shoes, go on a walk. After the third time, I said, fine. So I put on my shoes. I walk outside and it's like turn left. So I turn left and I walk and I just follow. I'm like, what direction? Because I can feel the energy prompting me. So I ended up going on this long walk around on this trail. And all of a sudden I come to this fork in the trail and it said, go back towards the street. And I was like, are you joking right now? Because I literally got off the couch and you want me to go back to the street. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You're stupid. Everything's stupid. I can't believe you do this to me. And so I'm walking on the sidewalk back towards my house, and this woman drives by and she parks up ahead of me on the block, gets out, walks all around, looks totally lost. And I thought, she looks lost. Oh dear. Okay. I guess she's lost. She gets back in her car. She keeps walking, or she keeps driving, pulls over a little further down the block, gets out again, is totally lost. And I thought, what is she driving? Is that a Nissan Sentra? And I suddenly realized that the day before I was selling a table on Craigslist and this woman had emailed me and she said, I'll be there at this time. I'll be driving a Nissan Sentra and I'll be
Chills.
to pick up the
Oh my
table.
God.
And I thought to myself, okay, she would have been lost. She said, I'm sorry, I didn't bring her address. I lost it. And so I was trying to figure out what house it was. And I was totally lost. And I said, okay, you're completely in the wrong place. I'm way at the end of the block. But I would not have been able to meet her on the street to help her unless that nagging voice said, get up off your butt, go on a walk. And they literally, and I don't know why that happened. I don't know why they would be so concerned about me meeting this woman and having her get the table, except that one, I was allowed to peek behind the curtain of the magic of the universe and know that that's possible. And two, it just reinforced that there's so much going on in this world that we don't even understand. And that I need to be humble about it and stop complaining less. That's maybe number 3. Less complaining, less complaining. So yeah.
That is so powerful. It's simple, but then that's the universe speaking to you. So listen and stop fighting. But then our human minds cannot comprehend that because, wow, I am so comfortable in this warm couch of mine, and I'm watching Netflix with some diffuser on, candle. This is heaven. Now you're asking me to get up? Why? Yes. Thank you for that story, Kirsten. What is your heart's greatest wish?
My goodness. I just wish that we would all get along. I know that it's a ridiculous thing to say. Let's include more people. Let's include more viewpoints. Let's include people we're uncomfortable with. Let's invite everyone to the sandbox and see what kind of beautiful things we can build together. That's end of story. Greatest wish right there.
I love it. I would love to meet you and head over to the US. I have plans. We need to meet. We need to do something like a convention. I want you to speak. Yes, just be ready. I'm planning that out. So, do you have a mantra that you live by?
My gosh, I would say it's less complaining, but that one's a really hard one. Giving up the complaining, I mean, not having a mantra. My mantra is be open because, I try to create space and stillness in my life. just because I never know if I'm too busy, how am I ever going to be able to hear what the universe wants to co-create with me? So be open and create stillness so that I can understand what's being asked of me. Because without that, I'm kind of just groping around in the dark. But if I'm open and willing to co-create, all the magic flows from that.
Is there anything that keeps you up at night, or do you sleep well?
So many things. I try not to think about them, but yes, the sadness and the grief in the world right now about so many things. Growing up in Pakistan, in a third world country, really made me understand that most people don't have. I have such a privileged life. Are you joking? Like, I'm not starving. I'm not begging for money. I am so privileged. So, one of the things that does keep me up at night is maybe I always worry that I'm going to miss my chance to do something good or beautiful, or I'll miss the opportunity because I'm not paying attention. That really worries me. And that I'm in this position and in this place and have had the life that I've had so that I can do good things. Like, how can I bring more beauty to this world, more justice, get rid of inequality? I mean, I can't do it alone, but one day I hope to have an army of people that will do it, and we'll do it together.
I've signed up. We're doing it together right now. You're doing it there. I'm doing it here, but we're connected in spirit and heart. And we're gonna be connected physically, one way or another, sooner or later. Yes.
Deal.
Kirsten, if you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
I see you leave the totally easy question for the very last question. Okay, no pressure here.
I get that all the time.
Do you? God, I'm not surprised. Okay, a quotation. My goodness. I think about, I'm really all about bringing beauty to this world. What does that look like? Everybody thinks beauty is a different thing, right? Which again engages like multiple points of view, inviting all these different people and their ideas of beauty of the world into, so it's like, how can I bring beauty to the world? So I guess my mantra would be, if I could have a t-shirt, right? So it's on the front of a t-shirt. It would say, what beautiful thing have you done today? Or what kind of beauty did you bring the world today? Something like that.
Then I am in the midst of preparing for my merch. So I have some quotes that I wanna, and that would be the first quote I think I would put, and I'm gonna put the dash Kirsten 2020. What was it? Can you repeat that again? What beauty have you done for the world?
Yeah, what kind of beauty have you brought the world? Or what kind of beauty did you bring the world today? Something like that.
Yes, kind of beauty. I've got an idea. This is another sign from the universe saying, because I've printed this, and I printed a mug just to be my prop for the podcast, and I'm like, I've been waiting to get that push, like the divine timing. Like, what should I do? I got it. Yay. So Kirsten, and when I come there, I will hand it over to you personally. So Kirsten, how can people reach out to you?
So I have a website, bytesizedblessings.com, and it's BYTE, because every episode has either the long form interview or the smaller little bite-sized episode, which is just about the miracle or the magic. And on my website, bytesizedblessings.com, you can find out about me. You can look at other episodes. You can contact me. You can look at my books. You can click on a link and watch my YouTube series. And I kind of just have all my ideas and all of my things there on my website. So yeah, that's the perfect place.
Okay. Well, thank you. And there you have it, guys. You heard it from the person herself, Kirsten Rudberg. Before we close off, Kirsten, I would like to thank you for the work that you're doing for the world and for advancing every step of the way despite the challenges, creating trails for those that will come after you. For our listeners, this has been that one podcast with that controversial name, You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, if you find yourself thinking that you're worthless, You're not alone. But more importantly, ask yourself a level deeper, if I'm worthless, then why the heck am I here? It is because your soul have chosen to be here energetically all the way from the ethers. And for that reason itself, you are worthy and you are enough. This has been Kristen Rudberg, your guest of the day, and Nick Nieras, your host, signing off. Bye bye.